All right. Hi, Florence. Hi.
Hello.
Good evening. Can you confirm? Can you confirm what you're seeing? I'm not sure.
Okay, so I see that you've shared your screen, and
Okay.
right now I can see products. I can see the flyer
Awesome.
basically.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just didn't know what was happening. I wanted to be sure we went live and okay.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for the slight mix-up. Sorry for starting 3 minutes behind schedule, but not to worry. You know how we do this every Friday. We are set to give you a fair, an interesting session. Today's session is interesting. If you're a founder, you want to be able to um, understand the basics of what we say when we discuss user interface design, when we discuss user experience design, when we discuss customer experience design, it's important as a founder for you to understand what it is that we're saying. It is not whether you're a tech person or not, whether you're a tech founder or not, it's not, um, it's immaterial. You need to be able to understand these terms. You need to be able to understand what we're saying when we use those terms. Because if you don't, it will be difficult for you to even have conversations with your technical co-founders and your technical teams, right? So, um, besides user in all of these things I've reeled out are not just about they're not just about the tech side of things. They're also the business side of things, as you're going to see very soon. There's actually a case. I mean, it was coincidence for me to bump into that news article today, and I'm going to share my screen at some point and talk about that news article a bit, so you understand how user experience, user interface design can actually make the difference between you losing money big time and you making profit. So you're going to understand all of that. And Florence Dairo is with us in the house. So before I introduce Florence, let's do our usual routines, okay? I would need all of you to please share in the tell me. I'd like to know how many of you are here. As usual, just tell me how many of you are, are joining this session. And if you are joining the session, as usual, we want you to introduce yourself in the comment. We want you to also um, tell us where you're joining from, and tell us where you're joining from. What, tell us the company, tell us your company, okay? Um, Tell us your company and, and tell us city where you're based. So it's very important for us. So please, so I'm glad to be here, says Joel Okore. Good evening. Thank you, Joel, for joining us. Thank you so much for joining. Joel, you didn't tell us where you're joining from, but I presume you're joining us from Enugu. So please let me know if I'm correct. Um, I presume you're joining from Enugu. So welcome, Joel, once more. So tell us where you're joining from. Everyone on the call right now, please tell us where you're joining from. And then one last thing I'd like to request you to do, like you know, is our tradition. You can't join these sessions alone. It doesn't make sense as a community. You cannot join our sessions alone. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you're already here on the session, I need you to take the link right now and share across the groups, invite your contacts, invite your friends, ask them to join the sessions. It's important that we learn together, okay? Because that's how we can build the type of businesses that we want to be able to build. Remember, Startup South, we're inspiring a generation of founders building high skill ventures in Nigeria, but particularly in the south and the southeast of the country. We want to be able to support people building high-scale ventures because we believe that they are in a position to create opportunities for our teaming young people across Nigeria. And in addition, they are able to help us develop our space, So that's why we want to be able to support. Welcome. Okay, so Joel is in Port Harcourt, so I was wrong. Joel, thank you for joining. Ikechukwu Kingsley, founder Kiaru Foods, Palm Oil Processing Company, joining from Abia State. Thank you, Ikechukwu. Thank you, Kingsley. And thank you, all of you, for the birthday wishes. Was it 2 days ago, 3 days ago, right? So thank you, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate the birthday gift and shout outs. All right. So, okay. So I want to see. Okay, while we're waiting for you, we're going to start in a few seconds. But before I introduce Florence, Florence has a few minutes to spend with us. She's going to share so much from her wealth of experience. But before I introduce Florence, I'd like to mention that next week, Wednesday, we're going to be having a session, an AMA session with the team from Nexford in Nexford University, Washington, D.C. We have Dr. Robin Johnston and Dr. Sheila Fournier Bonilla joining us from Washington, D.C., and they're going to be answering every question that community members have concerning running a program with Nexford. Remember that you have, as a community member, you have your application fees waived for you, and it's important that you go. Upgrade yourself, update yourself, and Nexford is one of those institutions that can help you do that. And you have application fees waived for you, right? And then you also stand opportunity to get scholarship, right? Partial scholarship if you join with our link. So next week, Wednesday, on this same channel, we'll be having these two people from Nexford, the high-ranking officers from Nexford University. They'll be joining us to answer all your questions. They tell us more about Nexford University, and they will be answering all your questions. Please, if you have questions, in order for us to be able to take your questions, it's important that you go ahead and ask your questions ahead of time. Use the link bit.ly/ss-nexama, all right? So use that link and ask questions. Start sending in your questions so that we can compile the questions and help ask those questions ahead of time, okay? Thank you, everyone. So without further ado, I'm going to be welcoming Florence. Florence is already in the chat and she's already saying hi to all of you, so you can engage Florence in the chat. But permit me to just introduce Florence. Florence is a product design consultant at TopTal. She is passionate about helping companies enhance their design experiences, refine their ideas, and launch product. She's a Figma ambassador as well. Florence, thank you for joining us today. Your mic is mute.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Awesome. So Florence, before we continue, I want to ask you very brief question. Did you see this news article?
Yeah.
I saw it. It was published 2 days ago, I guess. Citibank just got a $500 million lesson in the importance of UI design. Yeah. What do you think about this article? Guys, I'm gonna paste the link on the chat so you can go read it up. So Florence, what do you think about this whole article?
So the first time I saw it, I first of all bursted out in laughter and laughed my head out because a lot
Okay.
of startup founders, even a lot of companies generally, really underestimate the value of UI or UX or the importance of UI, especially. So at least from this article, they are getting this important lesson of UI because their design is so outdated and is not clearly communicating the functional part of things to the customer. It's not clearly guiding customers how they should move from point A to point B. So in turn, this customer makes a really silly mistake all because of the cost, all because of the company, and now they are paid heavily for it, which is really good. Because part of the things I'll be talking about today is how UI guides users, helps startups to communicate to users not only their brand but also using visual elements to get users to do stuff. So in a way, it's tied to what we'll be talking about today.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does tie. Okay, so the last thing before you continue, the last thing I'm going to ask you is, Florence, how does you first and foremost, is UI only for tech companies? Is it only companies that has that use tech, that needs to build a website, that needs to use a digital touch point, that have a need to discuss UI, UX, and my last question is, how does UI, UX relate to CX? I'm sure you know what CX is as well, right? Customer experience, right?
Yeah.
How does all of those tie in?
Yes.
I know that somehow it's part of what you're going to talk about, but I just wanted to preempt you a bit.
Okay, so the first question, must all companies or should you be a tech company to be able to be involved with UX UI in short, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
the short answer is yes and no. So if you are not a tech company, it is very important for you to get yourself involved in user experience, first of all. So user experience is UX. It is very important for you to understand how to make your customers interact with your product. And in this case, your product is not necessarily a digital solution. Your product can be maybe
Palm
how to
oil.
sell mugs or palm oil, exactly, how to
No,
sell
let's
palm
use
oil.
palm
So
oil.
you are thinking, yeah, so you are thinking, okay, how can they use palm oil? What bottle should I use? Should I use they press down and the palm oil pours out? So that means, is it a body cream? It's not a body cream. So you have to think of, oh, can I open the container in a way that I can pour it into the frying pan, into the pot? So you have to think of the best way they get to use your product. And your product in this case is palm oil. For customer experience, you also need it as a palm oil seller, for instance. So you are thinking, okay, how can they find me? How can they notice me? You are thinking, should I leverage on Instagram? Should I leverage on Twitter? Should I leverage on telling my aunties and my uncles that tell your friends, oh, I'm selling palm oil. You are thinking of those points, those touch points you need to leverage on to get to customers. So
Awesome.
it's not necessarily digital products. It's not totally tied to digital products, but user interface is mostly tied to digital products. You're thinking just interface. You're thinking what, which use visual elements can I use to communicate clearly to users that this is what I wanted to do at this point in time. So at that stage, you're thinking tech products. But for other aspects of experience design, CX and UX is not necessarily tied to digital products.
Okay, awesome. So in summary, what you're saying is that regardless of what you do, you need to be able to
Exactly.
think about your customer first. Think about
Yep.
the problem you're solving for them and how they interact with that problem, or how they interact with that solution, essentially.
Yep.
That's what you're saying. And
Yep.
that's the summary of what UI, UX, CS is about, right?
Exactly.
So
Yes.
CS is how do they experience this solution so that to help them get them excited enough to want to go tell other people about it. Basically, that's what you're saying. So let's not eat into your time. You can share your slides now.
Okay. Mm,
I guess I have to stop sharing mine.
okay.
So, but try. You should be able to share your slide, I guess.
Okay, I think I can. Can you see my screen?
Sure. Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So, hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about CX, UX, and UI basics for startup founders. My name is Florence Dairo, and I'm a product design consultant currently at Shopware. Shopware is an auto repair company in San Francisco, US. And we will be gisting about basics, UX basics, UI basics, CX basics. So first off, founders and companies really undervalue the importance of experience design, the importance of design in general. They see it as an optional expense. They believe, oh, why do I need an expert to do this when I can do it myself? But in its truest sense, founders are or should be more focused on how to get more clients on board, to get investors to come in and get the company moving or growing. So they do not need to tax themselves on how to grow or how to improve users' experience or how to become or how to be discoverable to customers at the early stage. All they need to do is some tips that I'll be sharing at the end of this slide. But basically, all they need to do at the early stage right now is to try to employ experts to save them time, save them cost, and also get the startup up and running. First off, an overview understanding of CX, UX, and UI is the representation of this quote unquote Venn diagram by the right-hand side. So CX is like the bigger umbrella that's in a bucket that captures UX and UI within it. And I would explain down the line, and everyone is going to hopefully understand the difference between CX, UX, UI, and how they relate or how they work together to help startups grow. What is CX? What is UX? What is UI? And how do they differ from one another? So customer experience, which stands for CX, is the focus on how the customer interacts with everything that has to do with the company. So it's not necessarily the product. It's how, as a customer, I know that there is a problem. So I'm going to use the palm oil example since we started off with the palm oil example. And I'm going to use maybe a ride sharing application or a ride sharing solution for a digital product. So palm oil example will be the non-digital side of this presentation, and the ride sharing application is going to be the digital side. So as a user, first of all, I have a problem. And the problem is I'm trying to maybe make stew and I want to use palm oil to make my stew. I don't have palm oil. What am I going to do? So the first step, obviously, is to probably go to a supermarket to go through everything, read through, look at the palm oil very well and say, oh, this is what I want to go for. Or is to call my friends and say, oh, do you have a palm oil vendor that I can call that can supply palm oil to me? So basically, there are two touch points. I can either walk into the store or call people to help me make a decision. But if you have a customer experience expert in your team or in your company, they would help you position your product or your solution in such a way that it screams trust to your users. They see your palm oil and they feel like, oh, this is a healthy looking palm oil and I should buy it and to make my soup or stew look and taste sweet, for instance. Or they've been able to satisfy maybe my friends, my auntie or my mom in such a way that they are recommending your product to me. They're recommending your palm oil to me. So that means you've done something good to some people and they're recommending other people and telling them about KR Food, for instance, that, oh, have you heard of KR Foods? They supply the best palm oil or they supply the best something. So you've done something good before and they recognize that and they are referring you to other people. So that is the beauty of customer experience. That is the beauty of customer experience experts. And first of all, they've been able to brand your products and brand the company in general, that it's appealing to existing and even new customers. A user experience person focuses on how people interact with the product or the solution or the service. So still on the palm oil experience, their goal is to make sure maybe the container, for instance, is usable. So they are not trying to design one complex looking container that if you squeeze it, the palm oil will come out, or something ridiculous. They're not trying to think of something ridiculous. They're trying to make sure, or how best can we help users pour out palm oil with just maybe a small push. So you're thinking a bigger keg or something, just to make sure that can work. So their goal is to make sure people have seamless usability when using your product or when using your software. User interface focuses on optimizing the product's look and feel. In a way, we can tie this to a non-digital product. This will be for branding. So that means the sticker on the container on your palm oil container, for instance, is properly designed in such a way that it's explaining everything they need to know about the product and also the company. So you know all the vitamins you're going to get from using the palm oil, for instance. You know all the phone numbers or emails or the people you need to reach out to be able to get across to the company, or to be able to refer them to your friends, basically. That is for a non-digital product. For a digital product, I'm going to use a ride-sharing application. So for ride-sharing application, let's go back to customer experience expert. So as a person, I want to move from where I am. So I'm currently based in Lagos. So I want to move from where I am to probably VI, so Victoria Island, somewhere in Lagos. So I'm thinking, how can I move from where I am to VI? And the first thing is I'm opening Google, or probably I'm calling a friend. And maybe when I open Google and I search ride sharing application, the first thing I see is Uber. I see maybe Gokada, I see Bolt, I see a bunch of other ride sharing applications there, but maybe Uber looks a little bit comfortable to me. It looks like I can trust the brand. So that way I click on the website, read a little bit about them, go ahead to download the application. The fact that I can read about a company I've never seen before and go ahead to install the application on my phone, that means there has been a really good job done by their customer experience experts. They've been able to convince me that our product is better than the competitor's product. These are the value proposition you're going to, or the value where we promise to deliver to you if you use our products. Okay, so now on downloading the application and using the application, I noticed that I can easily and seamlessly input my current address, my destination address, and find my way from where I am to VI all in less than 2 minutes. And that is amazing also because I can easily get things done within the smallest time possible. And also it saves me time and helps me solve my problem easily in a way. So that is a great work done by the user experience experts. The next point is the user interface expert. So their job is to use visual elements, visual cues to guide me to make my decisions, to guide me to finish up my task or to get those tasks done. So in an overview, this is what CX, UX, and UI is. And this is how they will help your business if it's a physical business or not a digital or a software business, and if you are a service providing or software providing business. The next thing is their responsibilities. How do they differ from one another? So as a CX person, they take into consideration the overall user interaction with the company. So as a CX expert, I'm thinking, how can I improve users' experience when searching? So that is why if I go to Google and I search ride sharing application, the first thing that pops up is Uber. Why not Bolt? There is someone there that has been able to make sure the SEO is very active. that they know that ride sharing should be tied to my brand. So you need maybe an SEO expert, analyst, or marketing analyst to make sure you are very discoverable with the little keywords possible. So, and also, I'm also interested in helping users select my software over my competitors' software. And the only way I can do that is to try to build some sort of trust, and also to show you that I'm better than my competitors' product, or my product is better than my competitors' product. And here is why my product is better than the competitors' product. Next one is user experience experts. They focus on the user interacting with the software, or the user interacting with the product. So they are thinking, how can we make this easier? And they have different metrics. They can be thinking, oh, how can we make this easy to use within 1 minute? So they're thinking, oh, I can just open the bottle of the palm wine like this within 1 minute, or I can use knife to do this within 1 minute, then lock it back or something. So they are thinking, what's the easiest way to make the user start using our product? And maybe if you are thinking preservation, to what's the easiest way to preserve this product for a very long time? So that's that. User interface, their goal is to, or their responsibility is to visually guide users through how they use the product, how they interact with the product, with different cues, with different visual elements. The next one is their goals. As a customer experience expert, they believe their goal should be to boost the overall brand perspective. So they are thinking, how can we increase customer loyalty by just looking at our website? How can we get you to call us to place an order? Or how can we get you to place an order or buy our product just by looking at our website? And how can we improve the overall customer experience? As a UX expert, you are thinking, okay, I need to study how users do something. So for instance, maybe palm oil, we can go back in the olden days and see, oh, how do they, or maybe not olden days, maybe the old products they used to use, how did they used to use their palm oil? How did they store their palm oil? How can we improve that experience? How can we make them store it in a better way? Or how can we help them use it in a better way? That's for a non-digital product. For a digital product, they are thinking, how do they use their phones? How can we help them use their, how can we take advantage of the way they use their phones and leverage our product or our solution and create a seamless experience that ties into their existing behavior. The last one is user interface, and the goal is, as an user interface expert, their goal is to find ways to improve product interface and how to help users navigate within the application using the right element at the right time, so that users don't get frustrated when they're using the product. Last thing we're going to talk about, the differences, is the metrics they use. So all of these experts use different metrics while working. As a customer experience person, they focus more on the customers a company gained or lost over a period of time. So they are thinking, how many customers have we gained this month or this week? How many customers have we lost this week? Why did we lose those customers? What can we do to not lose more customers? Or what can we do to gain more customers? So if using the KR Foods example, so they are thinking, oh, last month we were able to sell 500 palm oils and 500 bottles or pieces of palm oil, for instance, or 500 units, basically, sorry. And this month, even though the month is not over, but by this time last month, we were able to sell 500 units, but now we've only sold 200 units. So as a customer experience person, or if you have a customer experience person on your team, they are trying to see what happened. Why did people not call us? Why have we lost customers? Did we lose customers? What really happened? Trying to investigate and trying to increase sales rates, sort of. And as a user experience person, their goal is to focus on the usability of the product. Is our digital products usable? Is our physical products usable? If not, how can we make it, how can we improve it to be better? And if our goal is to save time for customers, how can we save their time while using our products? And as a user interface person, their goal is to best find a way to represent the brand in the possible way. So how can they clearly communicate to people that how can they clearly communicate to people that, oh, red means stop, green means go, without using red to mean go? So for instance, if you want to, for instance, if they want to delete their account, they should not see easy way to delete their account from your platform, because that's not your goal as a company. You don't want to lose your customer. So deleting account should not be very attractive. It should not have a very attractive button that says delete me, delete me. It should be something very subtle. And even though they're about to leave, you would like to get feedback from them to know, oh, why are you about to leave? What can we do better? Is it because of our competitor? What are they doing? How can we improve our services to serve you? So they are thinking more about brand representation. So now, as a founder, why should this matter to me? Why should I care about CX, UX, or UI? And the shortest answer to that question is a beautifully designed user interface improves your product, first of all. And a super improved product helps users carry out certain tasks easily within the shortest period of time. This, in a way, makes customer perceive your company as a really good company. So in summary, UX, UI, CX, they all work hand in hand to make sure your customer feel comfortable, to make sure your customer trusts you, and to make sure your customer recommend you or refer you to people to use your products more. And this also ultimately increases your chance of getting funds to grow your startup from where it is to more employees or more customers, or to more money, making more revenue. So what now? Do I need to learn the skills, or do I need to recruit experts? At the early stage of every startup, it is understandable that some startup founders are probably at that stage testing the waters. So they do not probably want to go all into that dream at that point. So they still want to explore and see if this fails or not, if this is a profitable market fit product or not. So they might not necessarily recruit experts to do this, because maybe at this stage they can't afford to get an expert, but it's fine. What they can also do is to embrace digital and to embrace design culture. So first of all, they can practice design thinking. So design thinking is a process that helps founders, that helps companies, that helps teams solve a problem by talking to real users and conceptualizing different possible ideas or solutions to a particular problem. So they can practice design thinking process, sort of. So this can be a weekly task where every week you are constantly asking yourselves, what are we doing wrong? What can be better in our products? What can be better in our experience? What can we do better? How can we increase our customers? What can we do? And this is a collaborative project. It's not, oh, it's just for the designer, or it's just for the CX person, or it's just for the UX person. It is a collaborative thing. So you're thinking sales team, customer service team, if you have engineering team, everybody come in together to think of a better way to grow the company and participate in this exercise to create possible solutions. The next thing to do is to develop a sense of empathy within the company. So a possible example of developing sense of empathy is to prioritize customer satisfaction over everything. So you're thinking, oh, this is a problem. How can we solve it so that our customers find our product desirable and even easy to use, and they can even recommend us to people. So you are constantly thinking, why are they unhappy at the moment? What can we do to make them happy with our product? Why did they drop off at the sign-up stage, for instance? What can we do to improve that? So you're asking so many questions, and you're trying to see things from their point of view, and you're trying to improve the experience from their point of view by talking to them, of course. Then the last thing to do is to encourage lunch-learn sessions. Lunch-learn sessions can be anything. So mostly the goal of lunch-learn sessions is to encourage your employees to come up with maybe a presentation session-ish, and they can present to you possible problems that they've spotted within the company or within the product, and it can explain to you how the company can solve that problem using design thinking approach. So maybe they've spotted the problem, they've done their research, they've spoken to users, they know that, okay, this is a problem that is currently losing X amount of millions of naira, for instance, and is making us lost maybe 20 customers per month. So this is a possible way for us to gain not only the 20 customers we've lost, but more. So encouraging your team members to carry out launch learn sessions is also one of the ways to embrace and even build or grow a design culture within your company. So with everything so far, please let me know if you have questions, if you want me to go through anything again. We can chat about UX, CX, and UI. Thank you. Hello, Nuruddin. Hi, Njoku Evans. Please let me know if you have questions. Or if anyone has any question about anything related to design or experience design and maybe running a startup, we can possibly chat about that too. So you can leave your questions in the chat section on YouTube. I'm currently looking at it, so I can read out the questions and we can talk about everything. Hi, Nuruddin. I it's great to see you in the chat section. I hope you were able to learn one or two things from my presentation. Everyone, prior to today's session, what was your understanding of CX, UX, and UI? And did you think it was important for you to have a CX expert, UX expert, or a UI expert? And do you think this session has clarified one or two things, or maybe clarified your doubts in a way? Okay, hi Njoku. So Njoku asked, please, can you explain the design thinking process? I missed out the prototyping stage. Okay, so I would delve a little bit deep into the design thinking process. So first of all, it is an approach or a process that helps you as a business person understand the needs of your customers. So the needs aspect of things is you interacting with your customers, asking questions. A lot of people use questionnaires to get feedback. A lot of people talk to customers. I would strongly recommend talking to customers. Like if you can schedule an interview session to ask product related customer questions to them, or see ways you can take advantage of some opportunities that you did not know existed, then you would be able to do that by learning more from the customer. So the first thing is design thinking helps you understand the needs. By you talking to your customer, you get to understand their needs, and it helps you create rapid prototyping feature or solution. And by that, so you've been able to speak to your customer, you've gotten their needs, or you've gotten their problems, or you've gotten what seemed to be the problem to them. And in a way, you were able to translate that into wireframes or into customer journey map or into user flow and translate it back into wireframes. You can take it back to them, get their feedback, get their. So this is if it's a digital solution. So I forgot to ask if this is a digital solution. I'll just move on down that line. So if it's a digital solution, you first of all ask them, talk to your customers, ask questions, then you move that into creating user flow or customer journey map. So customer journey map is close to what a customer experience expert is going to use. So they are thinking from the point they have a problem to the point they got the problem solved. How can you map out a flow? User flow is basically how to help users navigate within the solution you're trying to create. So you are thinking, how can I move my users from point A to point B and help them solve problems in between? So to make sure there is no drop off in between. I am gently guiding them to reaching their to reaching their goal. Then lastly is to generate creative ideas. So you've been able to get feedback from customers, you've been able to ask questions, you'll be able to translate these questions to user flow or to customer journey maps. And you are now able to translate this to clickable prototypes or to UI visual looking prototypes. You take this back to your customers to get the final feedback from them. Or does this look like what you imagined? Does this solve the problem you're currently experiencing? You get their feedback, take it back into wireframing. So there's a lot of going back and forth loop, but on a linear path,
Florence.
design thinking process is, hello, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, so I thought Uche joined the call back. But on a linear.
Yeah, I can hear you.
On a
Go on, I can hear you. Continue. I'm sure you have questions on the chat, I guess.
Yes, I'm currently answering Njoku Evans' question. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you, guys. My apologies.
Okay.
I can hear you definitely. So my apologies.
Okay.
We will sort this internet thing out very soon. So, we keep having these issues with the internet, but we'll sort it out very soon. So,
Okay.
Is there any other question on the chat? You know?
I basically even want to use KR Foods example to explain the importance of design thinking to Njoku. So KR Foods wrote, in our case, I took a course on design thinking and it helped us understand what our customers needed to see. They needed stronger product security. We had to add tamper-proof QR and barcodes. So that is one importance or one beauty of using design thinking to solve problems. And as I wanted to summarize before, so a linear design thinking process is first talking to the user. So the overview is a human-centered approach. And what that means is your users are at the center of the problem, at the center of the solution, they're at the center of even the company. So you're thinking, talk to your customer first, translate this into a flow, find a way to make sure the flow is reduced into faster clicks or speed, depending on the matrix you or your UX experts choose to map out your solution with, then you are translating this into wireframes and creating clickable prototypes. That is like a linear way. And I hope that answers your question, Njoko Evans, because there was a lot of back and forth in between. Nuruddin Momodu asked, as an online bus booking platform, what UX, UI, CX will you recommend? To be honest, I will recommend everybody because first of all, you need a customer experience expert, which is a CX expert, to help your business become visible to your customers. So your customers are those people that want to book buses online. So these people will think of the best platform to exist, the best platform for your business to exist on. So they are advising you to probably go on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, because that's where you see your customers. They know the market. They know how to make your business look palatable and appealing to your customers. The next one is the UX expert or the UX UI expert. So it's very possible to see one person that can do the three of them and to see one person that can do two out of the three. So you can get a minimum of 2 staff, minimum of 1. But if you can see 3 and you can afford to pay 3 of them, that's also cool. So if you have a UX and a UI expert, they would help you. First of all, your product is marketable thanks to the CX person. The CX person has been able to make your brand noticeable and obvious to your customers. So they've attracted your customers into your product. Now the UX and the UI person will find ways to make your product easy to use, seamless to navigate. So they are thinking less clicks to make sure they can book online, to make sure they can book buses easily. So you're thinking maybe 2 clicks within 1 minute, and they've been able to book a bus with you, sort of. So you need the 3 of them, basically. But if you can get one person that can take up these 3 hats, that would be good. That would be good. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Nuruddin. Hi, Uche. Hello, Uche.
All right, thank you. So, I guess um, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Mm. Hello.
Okay, that's fine. Lawrence, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can barely hear. But I guess we can let you go now. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Can I ask that, can we do like on Friday next week, which is going to be a panel session? Are you able to join us for a roundup Friday next week?
a Friday next week, same time. What do you mean?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I guess we can chat about it. Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I guess we can. Thank you very much. Let me
Thank
let
you.
you know.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining. Apologies for the
Bye.
network issues. We're working on it and we're fixing it. Don't worry. Yes. Thank you, Florence. Bye.
Bye.
We can end it now.